What if being different was never meant to be hidden, but embraced as part of divine design? This video challenges societal judgments, explores human dignity, and reveals why acceptance matters. Watch to discover why understanding this truth could change not only how you see others, but also yourself. Welcome to Cosmic Axis. If God made her different, why must she hide? This thought-provoking question invites us to reflect on identity, acceptance, and the pressures society often places on those who don't conform. On this channel, we explore ideas that challenge norms and inspire compassion. Stay with us as we uncover meaningful perspectives that could reshape how we see ourselves and others. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Cosmic Axis so together we can spread awareness and build a more understanding world. In American society, the idea of being different often sparks debate about whether identity is a product of nature, nurture, or divine design. Many psychologists, such as Carl Rogers, emphasized that authentic living means embracing one's true self rather than suppressing it to fit external expectations. When someone is born with qualities, orientations, or traits that set them apart, labeling them as abnormal reflects more of society's discomfort than any flaw in their being. Religious traditions, including Christianity, repeatedly affirm that all humans are created with purpose and dignity. Yet communities often struggle to reconcile these teachings with rigid social norms. Modern culture, especially among younger generations, increasingly question why someone must conceal their identity if it was given by God or shaped by natural design. Social examples highlight this tension. Students who face bullying for expressing individuality, or professionals who feel pressure to mute aspects of themselves in order to be accepted. These experiences reveal how society's demand for conformity can cause psychological harm, including depression, anxiety, and isolation. In a world that claims progress, the real challenge is not whether difference exists, but whether society can honor it as part of the shared human story rather than something to be hidden.
In the American context, social expectations and cultural norms often act as invisible boundaries that dictate how individuals should present themselves to the world. Irving Goffman, a sociologist, argued that much of life is like a stage where people perform roles shaped not by their inner truth, but by what society deems acceptable. This creates a tension for those who are different, as the cost of deviating from the script can be rejection, discrimination, or even loss of opportunity. Religious communities sometimes reinforce these norms by linking conformity to moral worth, even though foundational teachings of compassion and acceptance suggest a more inclusive path. Everyday examples can be seen in families urging children to fit in at school, workplaces promoting professional behavior that quietly erases individuality, or communities where silence about one's true identity feels safer than honesty. Psychologists warn that the pressure to constantly adapt erodes self-esteem and fosters internalized shame, leading to cycles of anxiety and detachment. Yet the paradox is clear. A culture that values freedom and individuality often undermines both when it demands uniformity. The weight of these expectations not only limits personal growth, but also impoverishes society by muting the very diversity that could enrich it. For many in America, the act of hiding one's identity becomes a silent struggle that shapes everyday life in unseen ways. Psychologist Rollo May described this tension as the loss of courage to be, where fear of judgment silences authenticity. People conceal aspects of themselves, whether it is their faith, orientation, background, or personal values, not because they're ashamed of who they are, but because they know society often reacts harshly to difference. In schools, students may avoid sharing their cultural heritage to escape ridicule. In workplaces, employees may downplay parts of their identity to secure acceptance or career advancement. Religious circles, too, can become spaces of silence, where individuals who do not perfectly align with community expectations choose secrecy over vulnerability, despite the fact that sacred texts emphasize honesty and compassion. This pattern leads to emotional exhaustion, a constant calculation of what can or cannot be revealed. Studies show that prolonged concealment contributes to mental health struggles, leaving individuals disconnected from both themselves and others. The tragedy lies not in being different, but in feeling compelled to live behind a mask, a condition that ultimately robs both the individual and society of genuine connection and collective strength.
Amid this struggle, voices of change have grown louder in American society, calling for advocacy, equality, and the restoration of human dignity. Civil rights movements, past and present, remind us that progress is born when individuals refuse to accept silence as the price of survival. Psychologist Abraham Maslow argued that self-actualization is only possible when a person feels safe and respected, a truth that underlines the necessity of building inclusive environments. Advocacy groups, from grassroots organizations to national campaigns, challenge outdated norms by amplifying the stories of those who were once pushed to the margins. In religious communities, too, reformist voices emphasize that true faith is not about exclusion, but about embodying compassion, justice, and mercy in practice. Social examples abound: schools adopting inclusive curricula, workplaces revising policies to honor diversity, and communities creating safe spaces where difference is celebrated rather than suppressed. These efforts not only protect vulnerable individuals, but also enrich the collective human experience by affirming that dignity is not conditional, but inherent. The call for equality is not simply a demand for tolerance, but a reminder that a just society must recognize every person as a reflection of shared humanity, deserving of both respect and belonging. Toward acceptance means moving beyond mere tolerance into a vision of society where no one feels compelled to hide who they are. Psychologist Brené Brown highlights that true belonging can only exist when people are allowed to be fully themselves without fear of rejection. In America, this aspiration is visible in conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, where the focus has shifted from demanding conformity to valuing authenticity. Families that once struggled to understand differences are now beginning to embrace them, recognizing that love is stronger than social judgment. Workplaces that once expected uniform behavior are increasingly acknowledging that diverse perspectives are essential for creativity and progress. Religious leaders, too, are reinterpreting sacred teachings to emphasize human dignity and compassion over rigid dogma, reminding communities that faith should liberate rather than confine. The lesson is clear. When individuals no longer need to hide, they contribute more openly, love more deeply, and live with greater purpose. A society that creates such space does not merely protect the vulnerable, but elevates everyone, because acceptance enriches the collective human experience. Thank you for watching this video, and if these reflections inspired you, we kindly invite you to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
so that together we can continue exploring ideas that build a more thoughtful, compassionate, and purposeful world.